guys, Claire here, and in today's video we're going to talk about all things Harry and Meghan. Two of the projects the Duchess of Sussex worked on during her tenure as a senior working royal have continued to have impactful staying power. A review of the Royal Foundation's 2023 annual report shows that the Together Cookbook, which was Meghan's Empowering Communities project, with the Hub Community Kitchen, has had a sales income of over £84,000 in 2023. In total, Together has raised a massive £911,000 or $1.2 million and funded £799,000 or $1.1 million in grants. Meghan's first royal project from 2018 has had more income in 2023 than the Royal Foundation's mental health and emergency responders programs and has funded more grants than the emergency responders programs and Kate's early years program as well. Remember, Meghan has not been a working royal since 2020. Talk about impactful. Meghan made sure to protect the proceeds from the cookbook by designating that all future proceeds go to the UK charity Felix Project UK, which distributes surplus food. And if you're interested in the entire breakdown, it is available on the 2023 Royal Foundation Annual Report. And if you're interested and you haven't yet already, the Together Cookbook is still available for sale. Service is universal.
She mentioned, how about sharing your recipes? Other people get a recipe book. And I was thinking, nah man, it can't be true. Because you know when you dream and dream, but your dream is not getting anywhere. And then someone just comes and say, I'm making your dream come true.
One important part of that also is the community kitchen or the Hub Community Kitchen, which has been supported by Meghan Markle. So women from the Tower as well as outside the Tower come and use the community kitchen. And that has been initially during the fire, it was only twice a week that they were using it. But since Meghan Markle came and supported the initiative with a recipe cookbook, the kitchen is now open 7 days a week, and around 20 women come. Some of them are survivors from the Tower, others who live around the Tower, and also from the wider community. So they all come to enjoy different recipes and to support the community. And some of them have also developed now their own catering business. And one of them have just celebrated 1 year anniversary of her catering company. And this was a resident of the Tower. She's now a well-established business in her own right. So this is the Greenfield has been really with us throughout the days.
In 2019, Meghan joined the British Vogue's then editor-in-chief to create a historic September issue. To mark the anniversary, the 2019 cover stars for Forces for Change have nominated their champions for 2024 and beyond. This particular issue of British Vogue was the fastest selling in the magazine's history. It sold out within 10 days. Not only did it sell out in 10 days, but it was also awarded the Diversity Initiative of the Year award from the PPA Awards. The British tabloids and royal reporters lost their mind, particularly Camilla Tominey. Remember, she was absolutely incensed because in her opinion, there were not enough Caucasian women represented. Now, this is the same Camilla Tominey that has been caught in numerous lies when it comes to Duchess Meghan. She was the one who brought us a story about Meghan allegedly making Kate cry, which turned out to be a massive lie. Tominey is problematic, to say the least. But it's wonderful to see British Vogue understanding and paying homage to that incredible issue. Well done, Duchess Meghan. It's also been revealed that Prince Harry's Spare will be available in paperback on the 22nd of October of this year. It's interesting because lately I've been seeing articles and commentary from royal correspondents saying just the opposite. So it's either they did actually reach out to Random House and Random House was not playing ball with them, or they just completely fabricated the story and decided to go with it. Royal commentators are not known for being factual or honest.
I think this is really intriguing. So intriguing, I got in touch with Penguin Random House this week to ask them what their plans were, and I got a message back to say, we don't know announcements to make at the moment, but we'll keep you in the loop. So I went back to them and said, yes, but have you confirmed that you are going to do a paperback? And the message came back going, no, we haven't.
Right.
So I wonder if there is something in this, and I'm wondering if whether he's realised, look, this has made me a significant amount of money, so tick for me, but he's realised there has been a massive personal backlash to him from people who found the way he had, dumped a bucket on his family in the worst possible way as pretty reprehensible. It does make me wonder whether he will plan to bring another one out. Because I was going to say, Jo, so if he does, he surely would have to include an updated chapter like these paperbacks do, and maybe he's just realised it's not worth it for him to go that way.
It's quite common, is it not, though, for it not really to be in the author's hands at all, as whether the book publisher decides they want a paperback or not.
I'll be honest, Jo, I don't know enough about publishing to know about that, but I thought it was very interesting the way that Penguin Random House were being slightly vague about this and not wanting to commit either way. It does make me wonder if something's going on behind the scenes.
I would have thought, being a business, they do want a paperback version, because of course they're in one business and one business only, it's to sell a lot of books, so they'll be desperate for a paperback, I would have thought.
And they were crowing about this book when they had it as a property, and of course it did go on to be a massive bestseller, but I would argue a lot of those readers were rubberneckers, people who wanted to just know what he had to say, but at the end of the book felt slightly uncomfortable by it.
If I am right, and I don't know, if I am right that it's a publishing decision, then Harry would just have to go along with it, right?
Yeah, no, surely.
If he had to write another chapter, you see, he could probably choose not to write another chapter, and then paper books do need that first chapter, I think, to refresh it and bring it up to date.
I mean, Harry knows how much damage he's done, and I think we've seen him trying to mend fences with his family, all the business about ringing his father on his birthday and then rushing over.
So as you can see, that entire segment with multiple royal commentators who love to present themselves as people who are in the know. They have the scoop, the exclusives on the Sussexes and all things royal, is a bunch of nonsense. Lies, suggestions, assumptions, a little bit of projection, a whole lot of nothing. And that leads us to the latest story from the Daily Mail. And according to them, King Charles is open to a truce with Harry after advice from religious leaders gave him spiritual nourishment. So you're telling me religious leaders needed to tell you to do right by your son, especially since you, your wife, your other son, and your daughter-in-law contributed to the demise of that relationship, and all you've done for the past few years is send your lapdogs in the media and palace staff to make Harry and Meghan's life a living hell, then try to use your grandchildren for PR points to paint you in the picture of the doting grandfather who is just so put out and so sad that he doesn't have a relationship with his grandchildren. Very much the same way that he did to Harry when Harry had lost his mother and was going through a lot, decided to use that opportunity, use Harry to make himself look as the doting father. So you see, with Charles and the royal family, it's a cycle. Same PR methodologies, same press, same nonsense. Do I buy this? No. This to me is just another story to put out there with the attempt to make it seem like Charles is much more caring than he actually is. His actions and his words do not match up. They never have. And until he gets to the point where he can acknowledge his part in that whole situation and learn to actually get on the phone and talk to his son, as opposed to having his people talk to the Daily Mail and tell them that he is quote unquote open to a truce with Harry, I'm not buying it. What happened to having conversations behind the scenes that are not leaked? I don't see that happening. And let's not forget, in that 60-minute interview, Harry was quick to say he's not coming back. And why would he?
A day when you would return as a full-time member of the royal family?
Now, the other story linked to that, according to the Mirror, was that Charles wants Harry back. And that I don't disagree with that. I feel like Charles has seen the massive success that Harry and Meghan has had outside of the firm. And even with the British press coming for them at every turn, they're continuing to thrive. That Spare book broke Guinness World Records. Meghan's book was a New York Times bestseller. The Nigerian tour, now the latest Colombian tour, the way they were received in Jamaica. With all of the things the palace and the press, or the UK press, has thrown the Sussexes' way, they're continuing to do just what they said they would do. And you see them doing that joyfully, happily, and still very much in love. That salsa dancing and those little moments of little kisses and hand touching and hugging and smiles. Harry and Meghan are good. British royal family, not so much. So I don't doubt that Charles wants Harry back. I don't see Harry having any reason to go back. And I do also agree that the major barrier is William. William is far more stubborn and unwilling to take accountability. But then the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, now does it? It's been interesting to see a lot of conversations on social media of people who, after truly paying attention to the royal family, reading Spare, just watching how it's all played out. In today's social media landscape, I feel like a lot more people are media literate, right? They can read between the lines. And some of the commentaries that I have been seeing shows just that.
And for 12 months during lockdown where we said literally nothing, it was relentless. And that was a real eye-opener for me. I never thought that we'd be away from it completely, but I did think that we would get some form of peace. But that's when I realized that actually our mere existence outside of that institutional control was more of a threat.
I want all the people who are really fixated on why Harry is taking his, personal family trauma so public to really sit with that clip. Because when you're a generational cycle breaker, you are in a lose-lose situation. Because even if you try to say, okay, I'm not going to fight anymore, I'm not going to rise to the occasion, I am just going to go and find my peace off with my new nuclear family by ourselves, you are still a threat to the system. You are showing there are other ways of being outside of the system. I can only imagine how much more true that is for something like the royal family.
Oh, I love talking about the Harry-Meghan saga because the Harry-Meghan saga is what helped me come up with the second rule of cults. The first rule of cults, of course, is in the epigraph of Uncultured. The first rule of cults is you're never in a cult. But I don't think the person asking this question is going to like where I go with it. I'm Daniela, scholar of cults, extreme groups, and extremely bad leadership, and author of Uncultured, that book I just showed you. Okay, so to start off, the British royal family is definitely a cult, right? And if you don't like the word cult, it's a total institution. And a total institution is defined as when you live and work separated from the rest of the world with some sort of formal overlay. And large estate household is one of the categories of total institution. So like Downton Abbey is a total institution, royal family is a total institution. But it was really when I was watching the Harry-Meghan interview with Oprah that I really started keying into it being a cult. And that's because of the language they use when they talk about the family and the firm, or the way they talked about the Queen with such worshipful tones in their voices. The way that, supposedly the actual humans, right? The Queen and the other people were like lovely and wonderful, but it was the family and the firm that had to control things. The way they care more about controlling things than they care about the actual humans in it. And watching the Harry-Meghan saga is what gave me my second rule of cults. Second rule of cults is the cult will forgive any sin, Prince Andrew, except the sin of leaving. And my third rule of cults is about Donald Trump, which is even if he did it doesn't mean he's guilty. And that is the deification of idiosyncrasy, our human desire to make excuses for the inexcusable behavior of our charismatic leaders. And charismatic leader does not mean he's charming. But I like it best what Meghan said. And I have this exact situation with my husband and his family. So Meghan says, it's very convenient for them. They want somebody to blame, and they conveniently have me. I'm paraphrasing from the documentary that they did. But the truth is that if Harry hadn't already been on his journey away from them, he never would have been attracted to me in the first place. And this is, again, exactly the situation I've had in my own life with my husband and his family, who are very, very much like opposite of us, and we almost don't have much contact. So yeah, royal family, total cult. Harry, Meghan got out of it. I don't think there's any signs of her manipulating him. I think it is exactly that what she said. Like she was what helped him leave the cult and helped him decide to leave the cult, as is often the case. Relationships with people outside the cult often help you leave the cult, or bringing someone into the cult to have a relationship with you often helps you leave the cult, because Harry had no concept of the world outside the cult, just like any cult baby that was born in. And by the way, I totally wrote an essay about what Prince Harry, cult babies, and veterans have in common.
They joined a forum called Afro Women and Power. And the Duchess of Sussex has said, I can feel this embrace from Colombia. It's incredible. Thank you very much. She spoke in Spanish. And, you know, it seems, frankly, a big step away from the rather formal royal visits of the past. To restore dignity to ethnic peoples, to promote the welfare of women, of children, of adolescents, said the Vice President. And it's a positive message. But within all this is the negative gripe that it is impossible for Prince Harry to get away from his family. That family is too important, too significant, and he is defined by it. It really is time for members of that family to get around a table and sort this out, because Harry and Meghan are showing the way to do things in a way that other members of the family really are not. And it's certainly time to sit up and notice. And among other things, this was a trip which was fraught with diplomatic and security dangers, and Harry and Meghan have embraced those and negotiated those with aplomb, with a dignity that is becoming of their status as members of the royal family. It's not that Harry needs them, it's that they need him and Meghan, and this fracture cannot continue, particularly when there are other problems in the family. This needs to be resolved. Anyway, just a last thought before bed, and a tribute to a really good trip and a positive trip.
I think there's an interesting piece of hypocrisy to point out with regards to this, and specifically King Charles. I have to get used to saying King Charles now, who has just given his royal assent to new laws in the UK that okay the idea of gene-edited foods being unlabeled and undifferentiable from normal foods. He has just given his royal assent to that, despite the fact that King Charles not only was the person who literally launched the Great Reset. When the World Economic Forum had their launch party, it was King Charles who did that launch and was the first speaker.
The time to act is now.
Who announced the Great Reset to the world. But King Charles goes around the world jet-setting, of course, flying his private jets with all of his attendants. He has something like 120 staff who look after everything, including setting the bath temperature to just the right way and putting the bath plug in just the right position, cooking several different eggs for him every morning so he can find one with just the right consistency, traveling around with his own personal toilet seat, all of course the stupid royal nonsense. But also, he travels around with, and not only his personal chefs, but his personal food supply, which is organic food only, because he will not touch the very stuff that he's trying to foist on the rest of us. But don't worry, guys, as part of One Health and as part of the UNEP, quadripartite, whatever they're going to thrust down your throat, they're going to say that this is in the name of protecting Mother Earth from those horrible, horrible farms that are producing all this horrible greenhouse gas emission. You guys are eating meat. Oh, you're eating all these horrible, you're contributing to the end of nature. What you need is this bioengineered, lab-produced gunk from these corporations that have monopolized that industry. That's what's good for you. Just don't look to us to be eating it. No, that's for you guys, the plebs out there. Anyone who is not disgusted, truly disgusted by the hypocrisy of this agenda, truly isn't paying attention to it. It has nothing to do with saving the planet.